I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Welcome to the second hour of the show. It's Power Lunch on Power 98.7. I think we're having a giggle because we're going into the psychology of segment of our program. And our expert is mental health and conscious parenting advocate, Karabo Mokoena. How are you doing, Karabo?
Hey, Pabi. I'm good.
Nice to see you.
Lovely seeing you as always.
And I said, well, I mean, have you brought your biggest cheerleader, and that's dad to your kids? So I said, so do you parent together? And he's like, I'm not talking. I can't talk, kids. And I said, well, wait, by the end of this hour, you'll want to be talking because we're probably only going to get, a certain point of view, a mental health and conscious parenting point of view. And I would love to get the point of view of what happens on the other side and also what that conversation looks, feels, etc., where you're kind of going, this is our decision. As parents, this is what we'd like to do. And I'm very happy for you to do XYZ with the kids, but I just can't handle them, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. When does that conversation even begin?
You know what, in the ideal world, this conversation happens before you have children.
Yeah.
You guys are kind of aligning on your values and what the dream is for what family looks like for you, and what family looks like for me. And we try and have those, nice conversations where we're getting to know each other, and then we get married, we have children, and then
What?
In the real world, it happens in the midst of everything. I was just bursting that perfect bubble of,
What did I do? But yes, of course.
No. It doesn't really work out like that a lot of the time. For many of us, we are figuring it out in the midst of it.
And then you've got to work backwards
yes,
from it.
And then you have to work backwards, but then you have to figure it out. And that's I think it's such big work that you really have to try and be as intentional about as possible when you try to figure it out. Mara, it's a challenge because essentially you are two people who probably had very different upbringings. You probably don't even always believe in the same things, so the disagreements are inevitable.
I was about to say that. I was about to say, let's go back to your ideal world example.
Yeah.
You've dated for long enough that you know each other's brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
You know each other's mothers and fathers.
Yeah.
Even if people have passed away.
Yeah.
So you know exactly what kind of, mama natsulalana, the biggest piece of chicken.
Yeah.
And this, so you know who you're dealing with because you've had that intermingling amongst each other and family.
Yeah.
But of course, in the non-ideal world, in the real world.
In the one I bursted quite quickly, very surprisingly.
Us heathens do it some other way. And then you have to catch up.
Yeah.
Okay, so say you are with somebody who is like a normal person and you're willing to speak to each other and, you don't even have to be broken up. It's not a co-parenting situation necessarily. It can just be parenting together, but you are still imjolong. Why do you think some parents, for example, find it so difficult to say no, and then the other snaps into action to balance it out, quote unquote, by saying yes?
So I think it could be one of three things, right? So it's either fear or guilt, or it could be a manifestation of conflict in that relationship. Just outside of the parenting, right? So I think from a fear perspective, it's called fear-based parenting, where a lot of the decisions that you're making are coming from your own personal place of wounding, right? Where you think, I don't want to come across as strict as my parents were on me, so I'm going to say yes because I'm trying to kind of compensate for that, compensate for what I lost out on.
So my childhood was very, very caged and difficult.
Yes, it really
and I'm going to
was.
do the opposite for my kids.
I'm going to do the opposite because
Okay.
that wasn't nice for me,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
And I remember what that felt like, and I don't want my kids to feel like that. So yes.
Okay.
Or the other parent could think that if I say no, then they might not come to me anymore. They might not come to ask me for stuff because then I'm going to be the parent that is always saying no.
Can I just say the one thing as a parent that you're not supposed to say?
Yes.
We like it when our kids like us.
Yeah, that relationship is important for us.
We like it
Yeah.
when our kids run to us.
Yeah.
It's not parent, it's just us. Ego. We're just like, yes, that's my baby.
Yes.
And so if you're fear-based,
Yeah.
it may also be that you have that thing where I want to be this person's favorite everything. And at the same time,
Yes, because you are not teaching them that love also involves boundaries.
yes,
Which is a thing.
Yeah.
You know, boundaries are okay. But then when you teach your kids that they are flexible, they don't exist even with us sometimes. You know, when you say yes to everything,
Yes.
then that means boundaries are just not there. And how do you navigate life when you
It's
don't
very
know?
funny. I won't say who told me yesterday. There are two people who've told me a similar story about similar aged children who are princesses. And these are young children. 8, 7. They get whatever they want. You see here, I've got this Jojo can.
Yes.
That's all the kids have. Ne? I didn't spend money on this. Someone sent me this. So now imagine you're in grade 2 and you have this with all the little the trinkets that go on top of it. You know, your word goes. Kochai. If it's someone's birthday, you get all the balloons because you're a princess. And then you turn 18 and your parents send you out into the world.
Yeah.
And then tell me, Karabo, what happens to that child?
Yo, remember how quickly I burst the bubble of being of living in a bubble.
Yes.
Reality then hits you out of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately in life, you don't always get what you want. You don't always get your way.
Yeah.
You have to learn to be in relationships with people with love and kindness. It's not always about you.
Yeah.
You know, that's reality. And if you haven't really learned that, because we really can do that. Like, we wish we could, honestly. Like, I was having a conversation with someone. I'm like, oh, don't you just wish you could wrap your kids in like little bubbles
of
and,
course.
you know, just protect them from this harsh world. But it's a world they have to live in, so they have to get accustomed to it. And I think there's ways to teach our children that, also without being harsh or mean. I think that's where we kind of lose it sometimes with parents, where we think that in order to prepare our kids for, you know, a world of bullies, we have to kind of sensitize them of that. So we kind of also bully them as well, like in like little minuscule ways, like, no, you have to toughen up because the world is such a tough place. It's like, no, you can do that with love and kindness. You can say no to your child without being mean. You can teach them that it's okay for people to just say no, you know, they didn't want to do that and it's fine. Because I think also no can be such a triggering thing, you know, maybe going back to why some parents just prefer saying yes is that sometimes as parents also, like, we're like, when you're policing your kids, like, it's just no to everything.
Oh,
and
no,
it's
you're
easy.
ridden with guilt sometimes.
No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. But also maybe how we're saying no also has to matter to our kids, because I think we can say it in like very harsh and mean ways that become very triggering for other people. So it's just,
And also,
kind, man.
maybe we need to turn down the volume of the no. a
Yeah.
little bit, right? And I don't mean yelling.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to say no to everything.
yes.
It's a little bit
sure.
cold
Yeah.
and they want to play outside.
Yeah.
And you want to just put them in a duvet and they
Yes.
must lie down.
Yes.
It's fine. Let them put their shoes on.
Yeah. They'll be okay.
You warm them up in the bath
It'll be
afterwards.
okay.
Go
But
for it.
also that's coming from your place of fear as a parent, because like, but lokula, you
Yeah.
know, must You know, like kids must remain in the house. Go winter, we just all cuddle up in the house because nobody should be sick. So it's coming from that for you. And it's like, no.
So you can be the parent who's the yes, 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 or the no, no, no.
Yeah.
You can be the parent who's always permissive, and your other parent is not permissive. So they know that if mama says no sweets before dinner, then they're just going to go, Daddy, mommy said no, but I know where they are.
Listen, they won't even go to mommy. Like, they get so clever that they already know.
Really?
Of course you're going to say no. Why am I even going to waste my time with you?
They
of
don't
course.
follow the bureaucratic process.
They figure out the system. They figure out the system and they learn to work the system.
What's the danger with that?
It's so confusing for kids. It's a very confusing thing for kids. Like, kids need structure. Our role is to guide them. And make them feel safe, you know. So that creates a false sense of freedom, you know. I can get whatever I want, but you're still not grounded as a child, because you can also get whatever you want. You need rules, you know. So if the rule in the house is that no sweets at 12 p.m., and that's important because sugar and dietary requirements, you know, health and well-being is a thing in the house. And it's like, no, but that's just a thing for mom, you know. Mom is the one that's like really stuck up about this thing, but dad is more lenient. So actually, like, do we care about health or do we not? Is health important or is health not important? You know,
so that value is never grounded.
Yeah, it's really not grounded.
You actually don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you really don't. I also think it creates a lot of anxiety for kids as well, because then in the household, your yes is not always your yes and your no is not always a no. It's like, okay, they both said yes, but it's like, wait, what if someone changes their mind? Okay, wait, what if dad said yes, but wait, mom might come any minute and say, hey, I told you no sweets. So that
kids need boundaries.
Kids absolutely need boundaries, because they have to also learn to respect other people's boundaries. Yeah. That's important. Like, we should never forget that we're also shaping community members, right. You know, and it's like, how do we want them to show up in community with other people? How do we want them to show up in relationships with other people? And that's why the alignment in the relationship is such a critical aspect of the conversation.
I think you're so right, because once you've had those conversations, and even if you come from different points of view of being raised different, but you go, this is what I would like to send into the world. What would you like to send into the world? And then find a way to work with each other.
Yes.
There was something that you said that was so interesting about the negotiation. What was it? It was that chocolates are not healthy for you because too much sugar. I don't think my parents would have any patience for that. It would just be, it's just no algae chocolate.
Wait, now I have to introduce...
Introduce what?
Introduce the fact that, so I'm a conscious parenting advocate. Like, I'm not only advocating for, I think essentially I'm advocating for children, you know, because I think we can just not be nice to children, man. Children just need people to advocate for them, because they really can't advocate for themselves.
Yes.
So, not a conscious parenting advocate, and my husband calls it negotiation. And he does not negotiate with terrorists. Okay, so...
Okay, he's here, but he won't speak. So I'm a terrorist as well. It's fine. You can speak on his behalf. So what would... And let's use a light conversation, like the chocolate. Okay? Because this can get heavier. It can get darker.
Yes.
It can get more expensive, you know, as time goes on. Which sport do you do? Do you get a PlayStation? Are you allowed to have your phone in your bedroom? So it can get to all sorts of places, but we're going to keep it in the chocolate bit. So now you negotiate and you say something along the lines of, the chocolate's too sweet, or
it's okay. Maybe the chocolate one is throwing me off a little bit, because I think we were able to achieve alignment a little bit on
chocolate.
Sweets.
Okay, so then Linwanagang. You two are so cute. Noodles.
Oh, we fight
Okay,
about noodles.
Let's talk about
we
noodles.
fight about noodles.
Right.
So the kids absolutely love noodles.
They put drugs in noodles because all
the
kids love noodles.
Absolutely love noodles.
Yeah.
And then conscious mom, the kids love it, you know. They really love it. Let them have what they love.
Okay.
I watch them enjoying those noodles and I'm like I love this joy for y'all. And dad is like, but these things are useless, not nutritious at all. And I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
I understand. So we're just putting nothing. Like the love is costing them.
That's it.
The love is costing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And I just have to, and I think the challenge is now I was standing on the business of this is just what I want for the kids, and I stood on my business for like the longest time until he gave up.
But for you it wasn't about noodles, and I doubt it was for him necessarily completely.
Yes.
For you it sounds like you were, it's a cold winter's day, they've just come back from school, let them eat what they want.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We're nutritious 98% of the time. Let them eat the bloody noodles.
Yeah.
And for dad, it may have been what?
No, for dad is that it's important for them to have a nutritious meal. Like food, dad is a foodie. Dad is the chef of the house.
Okay.
Daddy kena handlang di meal sarona. He loves cooking for us.
I don't think
and
it's only that.
Creating health and balance is very important.
I think it's he's looking at you, and the kids have bent your arm enough to get noodles, and he's like, you've got to toughen up, girl. You know?
I'm sure.
I could be wrong.
Is it that? Is it?
I knew this was a trap.
I told you, by the end of this show, you're going to be talking. I mean, what is it to you, Dad, as you look?
Like you are right. You are right, because it is how can they bend the will of the mother?
Yeah.
So I think in the relationship, our dynamics is that she's more of the lenient one, the negotiator, and I'm more of the this you shouldn't be doing. No noodles. You've had 5 packets of noodles and you still want more. It does nothing.
Yeah.
You know, but no, they must be happy. I understand, but now they're taking advantage of it, because there's a lot of things that I'm looking at as well, in terms of now we're wasting money, we're wasting food, you see, because they don't finish them. You see, so for me it just becomes that type of argument that yes, they might enjoy it, but it's for them, I feel like it's a waste. You see, they can.
But when you see mom being manipulated like that,
I just give up.
yeah,
I just give up. I'm like, it's fine. I'm
hence,
not gonna argue.
Hence, one calls it gentle or conscious parenting, and one calls it a negotiation.
Yes, and he does not negotiate with terrorists.
So I get it immediately. Yeah. And that's going to continue for as long as the two of you are around to guide the children, and even after they're 18. So I'd like to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
What is emotional negotiation compared to how we were negotiated with, or we were not negotiated
No,
with,
I don't
right?
think negotiation didn't exist.
So let's talk about that after this. Your 1:30 Power Headlines.
Speak up. Call the Power Line on 0861 987 000.
We're having a conversation about parenting and the psychology of parents who raise kids differently when mom says no and dad says yes. And I know that we've been keeping it on semi to completely light subjects at the moment, and we're very interested in hearing about your experiences, how you were raised, and how that has now impacted the way that you are raised. For example, you know, there were times where I wasn't allowed to express myself a lot. And I have the most expressive child. And I'm like, why did I allow this? Why did I allow this? But it's important, because then out in the world, you're allowed to, you've practiced. You've practiced how to stand up for yourself. And it's vitally important, especially in this world that we live in. So grab your headphones.
Okay.
I don't know if you've both got set. 0861987000 because Brampo is on the line. How's it, Brampo?
How are you?
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm fine, man. I wanted to ask something, Pabi, and our guest. I have issue with older big kids who are generally 50 and above, who we have to grow them up nicely, ground them, but they're lazy. They don't want to touch anything. How do we overcome that?
Oh, that's those headphones. Yeah. Either on your ears or on the table. Sorry, sir. Okay, Abud Bra Ntatimpo. You say they're lazy, yeah?
Yeah, why kids are so lazy? Why can't they...
So hang on. Kibatlo Wudza. In what way are they lazy? What are you referring to?
We normally have what we call home chores, that you wash dishes, you clean. You don't depend on the lady who will help you, or the brother, watering, and all those things that are very basic. Then you pick up that these kids don't want to touch those things. They just want to eat, sleep, wake up, phone, school, or university, whatever. They live that life.
But they are in their books, because you're saying school, university, they go to their books.
The books they do.
They do.
I'm happy with the results. It's not like, but remember, the books don't pay you unless you also do something. And when you become harsh with words, because they don't feel like you're a brutal father. But
I understand.
What else? You can't beat them. The only thing left is that you guys are lazy.
I want to ask quickly and about the range of the ages of these kids you're talking about.
22 and 23.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. You've given us a lot to talk about. Brampo in Randfontein, thank you. And I think that this is important because lots of people talk about this generation like that. Lazy, entitled, they don't know how to work. Every other day they have some mental trauma that they must go and sit and under a tree and sleep and so that's why I ask, the laziness he's seeing in the house. And he's even seeing that auntie Mokoena, but they still don't do anything in the house or the garden. At least their books, they're focused, but they're about 22 and 23.
So I think this takes me back to the conversation on boundaries. He's not on, right?
No, not anymore.
This takes me back to the conversation about...
But he is listening on the radio.
Boundaries. So I think, for example, with auntie being in the house and musebetsi wa auntie ke eng versus what the kids are supposed to be contributing. Yes. So is there clarity in the house regarding what their responsibility is supposed to be, or... is our parenting approach that you want them to show, initiation and do their own bed, or just one day I etse garden, or one day kitchen fail, maybe auntie I let me do this. So is there clarity in terms of what auntie is expected to do and what you want your kids to do?
Got it.
And then when that rule has been set in place, what then happens when they break it, or they don't show up for their responsibility? What's the consequence of that? How is that being managed, or are we not managing it at all? Is the communication coming from mom and dad? Like, are we sitting down to place this concern? Also, without, I think I'm glad you asked clarity for what does laziness mean, because Leona, you know.
Yeah.
That's how I used to hear it as a kid growing up, and I don't think it's a label, and it's a very negative one, and it can easily make you defensive.
Yeah.
So if your concern as a parent of a, because these are
These
like
are
their brains are almost
men
completely
and
developed.
women.
Their brains are almost completely developed.
Yes,
What they need to do
yes.
like 2 years to be a
Yeah.
25-year-old, and you know there's how you're supposed to show up in the world, where you know responsibility and accountability. Those things are very important. But how are your parents as your guardians, as your teachers, teaching you those things? And then what happens what expectations are they setting of you, and what happens when you don't meet those expectations? And are there expectations you think you're supposed to be doing? Because then a 22-year-old can tell you, you know, this is you know, these chores are not my responsibility. You know, what are they thinking about chores? Like, because kids grow up not really enjoying chores. So what's their attitude around that, and what are the expectations of the house? This is my house, and in this house, this is what we do. We all show up for our different responsibilities. How are you implementing that? And then when it doesn't happen, how do you show up?
But I also wonder what happened at age 4. What happened at age 6? What happened at age 10?
What learning?
Like,
when
what were
gradually
the
learning these things?
expectations along the way?
Yeah.
And I can see a 23-year-old who's in varsity, and his room's just full of bowls. There was noodles in the morning, there was mince in the bowls all over. And khongahambe and but wapasa ko sekolong.
Let's apasa le mofile mosebetsi wa rena. And
Pasa.
then what pasa and dad happy.
Yeah.
But
But
what more do you want
your
from
room
me?
smells like rats live there. So let's help each other along the way. Hence I say, I wonder what the etiquette was along the way, because there's some things that then become internalized.
Yes.
You know, when you wake up, you make your bed. You just
Yes.
know. It's not, no one must tell you to do that.
Yeah, and that's our job. And in the early stages, it's our job to teach them, you know, to be accountable. And it's like, you know, what do you do in those little small moments when she comes back from school? Anke peke ai latlhele kwa, anke dikausuwa di latlhele kwa, anke uniform ai latlhele kwa. Magwa tseba gore anti o teng o tlo paka, and you're just like. Because we faced that in our own home. My 7-year-old is just wilding. And every time, I'll see, uniform, you just can't leave it here.
Wilding.
Okay, wait. Come here. Why did you leave your... Oh, my gosh. Like, it's our job.
But it's the training.
Yes, it's the
training. And now is the training, because they start developing differently around 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So now the brain's also doing different things.
Yes. Because now, because now you get our 7-year-old. Sometimes she cares because we have days where auntie's not in the house, and then it's like, okay, guys, we have to clean up, and then she actually likes it.
Yeah.
Like, she likes she's a girl.
Yeah.
She likes being in a clean room. Maybe she'll take the sheets and put them under the bed. You know, bottom line is, like, no, let's not take the sheets there. Let's, you know, and then you also continue to train them through that. So,
but even when we genderize it, I find that kids love helping. So if it's a project for us, okay, today we're gonna change the big duvet. I don't know. This is what.
It's fun.
Okay, so you stand at the bottom where the buttons are, and I'm gonna stand at the top. And if you want to jump in, you can, but only once. You know. And then we change the big duvet, and so it's not necessarily genderized, because I felt that I was very genderized as a girl, and I had no ambitions to wash dishes in my whole life. So it becomes a little bit of an us thing. Like, we need to evolve from that, Dad.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even with me, I grew up with like a military dad, so chores were very, you're going to do this, you're going to do this every day, and you're going to do this at this time, or else the consequence is this.
Right.
You know, so I grew up doing those chores, but you end up disliking chores the more you grow, because it felt like some form of punishment. And I like what you're saying is that now you make it fun. Let's do the garden together. It becomes fun. And to also go back to what the caller said as well. So recently we also inherited a teenager. you know, and he's very neat. He cleans a lot, but I think for some reason teenagers also have this thing where they also want to sleep throughout the whole day.
But you know that they need to.
Yes,
they're growing. Their bodies need to.
Their brains.
You see, so
Leave him
I
alone.
never understood that because I never got that chance to sleep.
Oh,
the
you
whole
never
day.
did.
So I look at him and I'm
It's
like,
shocking for him.
I'm like, oh my God, you just slept 12 hours
It's shocking for him.
and you are
every
still
time.
tired.
Every time he comes out of his room, he's like, "Good morning." I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's 4:00 in the afternoon."
But that's
Just
very
leave
interesting,
it.
don't you think, Karabo? That
Yeah.
maybe we need more actual physiological education
Yes,
as
ma'am.
parents so that we
Yes.
understand.
Yes.
Because I think that we went through those phases when they were very, very small. I can't remember what it is now, but they go through these milestones,
Yes,
right?
just, yeah.
And then, okay, now you're 5.
Yes.
Or now you're out of a nappy.
What's happening in your brain?
Now just grow up.
Yes.
Whereas the circle does come back around.
Yeah, for sure. Developmental milestones, child development really just happens in stages. And when you don't know, knowledge is power, man.
Yeah.
Knowledge is absolute power.
Yeah.
And that's what helped me be able to tolerate just temper tantrums as well, because I'm understanding that my kid is experiencing big feelings. They don't have a vocabulary for it. I don't have to react. You know, we can be koshopong and they want to buy sweets, and I set a boundary and I'm like, no, we can't have sweets. We didn't come here for this. I said I will get you one thing and we got it. And then they throw a meltdown and you're just understanding, no, it's like overwhelmed. A 2-year-old is absolutely overwhelmed by this disappointment that's brewing inside of them, and they don't know what to do with them. And I just sit with them and we let it through, because I'm understanding that this is where they are, this is what's happening. Same with a teenager, when they want to shut the door in your face and just tell you where to get off. You're like, oh, you know what? Moto is, they're finding who they are. They're trying to assert their independence, barobala the whole day because their brain is telling
See
them
Dad's face like,
shut
don't give a
it down.
you
Not
need
in
to
my
wake
house.
up.
Not in my house.
Let's listen to Almond, who's on the line. If you can grab your headphones again and just put them on your ears. Almond in Soshanguve, how are you doing, my brother?
I'm good. Listen to you. I feel like I'm so lucky. I raised 2 nephews. Every time we go to the shop, calculate, we need this stuff. Then after the change left, we'll buy your stuff. They'll be quiet until it's okay. Only 20 rand left.
It's
Choose
your
what
stuff.
you want.
Yeah.
Just want to. Okay, my say like, kids, you don't force them to do chores. They love to do chores when like the environment is happy. Like they love gossip too much. Especially with these funerals, we see our brothers standing there cutting meat or what, because we're talking too much about their past life, how we used to date, how things are expensive. We explain to them like, hey, back in the time, we only need 20 rand to date someone. Yeah, because we used to buy Sparkle 2 rand 50 and 10 rand 2 liter, then you sit there. So we explain them how it works, anything that then they catch up like that. That's why when they do some chores, I try to create environment to be favorable for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, beat them, do chores with them, say, hey, let's pick up this, play loud radio music, okay, choose the music, dance a little bit with them, say,
Yeah, I love that
Yeah.
so much. I love that so much. And I love the element of, as uncles, you all know exactly what you're doing, but you give this young person an insight into what it is that you're doing and what their possible responsibilities as malome or rangwane or whatever will be.
Yeah, just explaining things to children. I like that.
I like that a lot because I think we put our children away. So we will, as aunties, now we're in the kitchen and we're gossiping and we're chopping and we're da-da-da-da-da-da, and we've put our kids on an iPad in the other room. So all the kids are babalang,
Yeah.
but they actually should also be in there with us
Participating.
with maybe a less blunt knife, but participating so that it's a part of the vibe.
Yeah, we just also like our own space as adults. Hey?
Of
Like we need a
of
break from the
course.
kiddies sometimes. So I think that's just also what comes into play. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I agree. I think involving our kids is incredible. And I think what you were speaking to and what the caller is speaking to is just playful parenting. Children understand like the language of play more than absolutely anything else. So when you make an activity playful, they understand it, they get it. When you just explain to them why are we doing this, you know, the importance of a healthy meal or living in a healthy house, or you know what we're doing at an event in a family. When you explain that to them, they learn, man.
Yeah, they
learn.
really
They
get
really
it.
do. They get it. We underestimate them so much. Like,
Aren't you sometimes surprised? Aren't you like, oh,
every day,
I
Pabi.
thought this was gonna confound us both, but look at you. You
Ash,
get it.
every day, every single day. It
What a
just
miracle.
catches me. Beautiful.
What a miracle. Let's talk about how the dynamics of perhaps mom and dad not quite meeting eye to eye and that kind of thing happening all the time, even if it's not explosive,
Yeah.
but kids feel energy, right?
Very
so
much.
you guys at night, you are going to go, why did you let okay? So how do you think these dynamics then show up later in children's lives, in their relationships, in their abilities at school to maybe society, enter into society, all of that.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing to remember as we raise our children is that we're modeling, you know, we're modeling
Behavior.
life, we're modeling relationships. So that should keep us accountable. And that's what should actually try and just keep us aligned. When we're trying to do it in a relationship, you know, is that we're modeling this to our kids and how we're showing up for each other, teamwork, you know, all these important relationship things. We have to model it to them because we want them to show up like that. But when kids are always having to navigate around conflict, that's very difficult, because there's nothing as confusing as when your place of safety is not making you feel safe.
Yeah.
And there's nothing as you know, detrimental as growing up was not feeling healthy or health not being modeled to you as a child.
Yes.
Because then you're using other things as point of references, because like you're not sure coming or going. So the kind of anxiety it builds inside of them, but also the way the anxiety shows up in relationships with other people as well.
Yeah.
How they navigate being in teams, you know, they don't know what teamwork actually looks like. They don't know what it looks like to have and abide by the rules. They don't know what it looks like to, you know, respect, you know, authority. So I think, yeah, ultimately, it's easy to raise those people to grow up and just have mental health problems because they don't know what emotional regulation looks like. So it can get harmful.
It can get very, very harmful. Whereas on the other side, even if you do, as mom and dad, have a disagreement, but you know how to positively have a disagreement, and then there's a resolution where you come back to each other. I mean, that's a perfect lesson to learn for somebody who's small.
For sure. I think we always try to beat ourselves about, you know, having disagreements in front of our children.
Sure.
And it's like that's inevitable. Like you don't always have to go into a hiding place. They can already see these vibes. You know, they can already say there's vibes, but it also makes you accountable to making sure that your disagreement is healthy, so that you teach your children what healthy argument is. But it's also tough because that means you have to emotionally regulate yourself enough to be calm in the moment. But also modeling emotional regulation means if you are in a heated argument with your partner in front of the kids and you feel like you don't want to do this, you can say, "Ish, I don't feel fine to have this conversation. I'm going to get a timeout." You've modeled something wonderful. Wonderful, in the thick of it.
We have to get degrees to get jobs. We have to get driver's licenses to be able to drive cars.
Imagine.
Nothing for parenting.
Imagine.
Just
absolutely
go
nothing.
Parent.
Just absolutely nothing.
Because how many of us know how to emotionally regulate ourselves? Particularly, we pick partners who remind us of something that is very hectic in our lives. Yeah, so it's very, very interesting. So, therapy is so important. Yes. Play therapy is so important. And then this idea of working together as a unit, as a team, which I think is what we'll speak about just before we end off this hour. We've got a voice note that's come through.
Pabi, you're talking about a kid who's doing well book-wise, but the room is filthy, umaswe, but waphasa ko skolong. And you don't just want a kid waphasa ko skolong, but a kid who is responsible. Because life is not just about being having a high IQ, but it's about other parts tsa bophelo. A kid needs to be able to do be responsible, have emotional intelligence, intellect, emotional, and all that. And if you can check, you can ask yourself, like other people who've been asking the question about bo barkemang nandipa o chabo besta hore mara ale doctor o palletse yang ho khetha monno mo right gore o botlhale ka mo mara o domo ka mo. So you want a kid who's going to grow and be responsible fully, an overall responsible person. You rather have 60%, maybe 50%, but across bophelo ba botlhe than to have 100% ka mo bukeng and a domo in other parts of life. That's my take, man.
Why is Nandipa the dumb one? She didn't kill any. She didn't start the killing spree.
Because she just made a
don't get me started on choices. Because you know what you do? You flavor yourself with chocolate. You charm us. You take us away. And then, you stab us in the chest. So please don't if you want to speak to someone about choices, go phone another radio station. That is so boring to me, because that's what abuse is. They charm you and they lure you into the trap. Anyway, I'm over that. As you were saying?
I was saying, as parents, we shouldn't, I don't know why we can't equate academic excellence with responsibility, because then if your kid is doing well with their books, it means that they are studying, and it's like what do you regard as responsibility? And I'm not justifying quote unquote laziness. Kids are supposed to know that these are the chores that I'm supposed to be doing, but then don't disregard the effort that they're putting into their academic work, because their expectations go to, we don't celebrate birds for flying. School is tough, School is not nice. Sitting and studying and doing extra lessons or whatever, they really are showing up for that. So when you even have the conversation with them, you don't have it like that, because I'm sure some of us do have it like that. Oh yeah, but and you don't do this. Like, okay, so skolo doesn't matter. So applaud bird for flying, okay? Say, I see you're showing up for your school and I'm really proud of you, but I'm just worried about the way you're showing up for the responsibilities in the house that you're supposed to have. So I would like if you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and you don't do it, then we have to see what we do with that. But yeah, just affirm kids also with the good that they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Affirm kids. I'm still heated up because, I think Tabo also came from a family, at some point somebody also spoke to him. But it's the decision that he made in life. So, you've also made some poor decisions in your life, sir. This one says, it's a very difficult one to get kids into routine. My kid is 8. His chore is to clean the TV stand. Thing is, he only cleans it when I point it out to him. When he's playing Xbox, dusty on the high bone.
I want it dusty.
I want a Xbox fella.
Mutli is dusty until until, because it's like, I think, and that's the tough work, right? It's like, how many times do I need to tell you this? So like, how do you equate that as a parent? I need to be going and drilling this into you.
Dad, how would you do it?
I think we have that challenge as well, right?
Yeah.
There's this thing that we've introduced, which I think it's a bit wrong, right?
Okay.
Where we reward the kids for doing chores, for example. And it was my idea, actually. Like, okay, do this, I'll pay you, you know. And it works for some reason, you know. But it becomes wrong because now I've seen my daughter starts using it as a way to hustle me.
And she's such a hustler.
Yeah, it's like
clever kid.
She's such a hustler.
She's like, Dad, I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will cost you so much.
Right.
Like, this child.
Yeah.
And for me, it just creates the challenge that, okay, now for you to do chores, now it seems like I'm going to have to pay you going forward, which is it's not right. So now we just stuck in this thing that it gets things done, but at a price.
I think we forget as parents how powerful we are. That plug, Wi-Fi.
Yes, the key to the kingdom, baby.
I'm telling you, that plug, Xbox.
Ash, it shuts it down.
Go put it somewhere. Take it out. Look, it'll probably affect your productivity as well. But that plug, you are a powerful, powerful person when you own the plug.
But then, Pabi, are they then going to be disciplined and clean because they are just disciplined children, or are they cleaning because they are afraid you're going to unplug?
At that point, I don't care.
The
I want the dust
is not there
off my TV stand. That's what I want. And I want them to warn each other. Pakisa, there's a dust.
Now they're all involved.
You see what I'm saying?
It affects
it's a community. How do I get hold of you guys?
Hey man, we are on social media. It's Black Mom Chronicles. We have a website that my husband actually created. blackmomchronicles.com.
You know, we still don't know his name.
My husband's name is Mokoena. But yeah, man, check me out on Black Mom Chronicles on all platforms. Hit me up on the DMs. I love engaging people on these things. We don't always agree, but we will definitely have a conversation.
100%. Thank you so much. I thought that was an incredible conversation. Parents who raise kids differently, and when mom and dad have slightly different views of how things should go, the psychology of that and how it leaves the children and the family.